1. UW Board of Regents approves tuition hike, what it means for students. 2. UW tuition hike, 5% increase approved for 2025 to 26. Regents vote unanimously. 3. Wisconsin University's proposed tuition increase, what you need to know. 4. UW tuition hike, students get screwed again. 5. UW tuition increase debate, is it necessary? 1. UW Board of Regents approves tuition hike, what it means for students. Brace yourself, university tuition is about to jump again, and the debate over affordability versus educational quality is heating up. If you're a student or a parent, what happens next will hit close to home. In a decision that's already stirring strong reactions, the Universities of Wisconsin Board of Regents has greenlit an average 5% tuition increase for the coming academic year, signaling the third straight annual spike after a decade-long tuition freeze. For most students across the state, this means shelling out several $100s more compared to last year. But here's the twist: the University of Wisconsin-Green Bay, UWGB, is bucking the trend with a slightly smaller increase. Let's break down how this unfolded. Initially, Universities of Wisconsin President Jay Rothman recommended a 4% tuition bump for all state campuses, but offered each institution the option to tack on an extra 1%. Every university except UW Green Bay seized that opportunity, electing the full 5% rise. UWGB alone opted out of the extra 1%, making this decision with a keen focus on their students' needs. Why? According to campus leaders, more than 80% of UWGB students receive some form of financial aid, so keeping tuition manageable is, in their view, non-negotiable. But here's where things get a bit controversial. Should all schools have followed UWGB's lead and prioritized affordability, or is an increase necessary to maintain quality? The university system's leadership calls this tuition hike a reluctant move, made after lawmakers funded only 30% of their requested two-year budget. President Rothman stands by the decision, emphasizing that we are an incredible value, and noting that additional financial aid remains available. Still, the optics and impact weigh heavily on everyone involved. Dr. Ashok Rai, a regent for the Universities of Wisconsin, didn't mince words. It's vital all of us on the board recognize the real impact these tuition hikes have on Wisconsin's students and families. Just last year, tuition had already increased by nearly 4%. Now, as costs rise again, some worry about the cumulative effect on students' futures and their wallets. The extra revenue from this increase will fund essential academic and support services, paying faculty and staff, maintaining campus facilities, and ensuring the quality of university life. Thousands of students flock to UW Green Bay each year from both in-state and out-of-state, but all will feel these changes in their bills. For UWGB students, choosing not to add the extra percent still means an increase of at least $174, but it does spare each student between $43 and $86 compared to their peers at other campuses. Chancellor Mike Alexander explained UWGB's unique strategy. Given that the vast majority of our students are supported by financial aid, our priority is keeping college as affordable as possible. He also credited a dramatic 25% enrollment growth over the past 5 years for allowing the campus to sidestep the full tuition hike, a perspective some might call optimistic, while others see it as risky. After all, can enrollment booms always be counted on to cushion budgets? Alexander readily acknowledged that any increase, however small, could create financial challenges. He encouraged students experiencing difficulties to reach out to UWGB's student services for support. We know this isn't easy for everyone, and we're here to help solve whatever issues come up, he said. And this is the part most people miss. Behind the numbers and percentages are real students, each with their own stakes in how policy gets made. So let's open it up for discussion. Do you believe tuition increases are justified given state budget constraints? Or do universities owe it to their students to keep costs down at all costs? Should more campuses follow UWGB's example? Or is there a greater risk to educational quality if funding falls short? Share your perspective below. Let's hear your take on where the balance should be struck. 2. UW tuition hike, 5% increase approved for 2025 to 26. Regents vote unanimously. Universities of Wisconsin's Board of Regents voted unanimously to raise tuition for 2025 to 26 by an estimated 4 to 5%, marking a significant shift in financial priorities. https://fox11online.com/news/crisis in the classroom Universities of Wisconsin propose raising tuition by up to for school year College J. Rothman Board Regents State Budget Tony Evers Funding. I believe the proposed tuition increases strike a balance between state funding and affordability, ensuring quality education while maintaining accessibility, said President J. Rothman. We acknowledge the recent state budget boost but recognize the growing cost of living, particularly at nearly 30% inflation since 2020, which has outpaced average costs at 18%. Regent Ashok Rai emphasized the need for alignment with the board's request, noting that the current budget was designed to eliminate tuition hikes. Officials explained that the increase reflects both inflation and the new biennial budget cycle. While many expected a more aligned fiscal plan, the system currently accounts for only 20% of the state's revenue, with 70% provided through the state and 30% matched by the university. The tuition increase will add an additional $500 to some schools' budgets, though not all. Regent Timothy Nixon highlighted that the $48 million investment will support the UW system, with $30 million tied to the latest funding bill. He also noted that students can opt for an extra 1% increase, though most universities except UW Green Bay have already adopted it. We aim to reduce educational costs for students on aid, ensuring they pay as little as $500 annually, said UW Green Bay Chancellor Mike Alexander. Student retention remains a priority, as our institution grew by 25% over 5 years, generating over 11,000 students today compared to previous years. 3. Wisconsin University's proposed tuition increase. What you need to know. Attention all Badger State students. A financial storm is brewing as UW System President J. Rothman unveils a tuition hike proposal that's sparking conversations across campus. Here's the breakdown you need to know. But here's the twist. The base raise would hit in-state undergraduates with a 4% tuition boost. However, individual campuses can choose to layer an extra 1% increase on top. That's where it gets interesting. While most universities plan to adopt this optional 1% hike, UW Green Bay has opted out, choosing a more conservative approach for now. Meanwhile, UW River Falls is taking it a step further, pursuing an additional increase to support student success programs that could push their total hike to 5.8%. Hold on to your hats, because the financial ripple effects don't stop there. Out-of-state undergraduates aren't off the hook either, facing their own tuition adjustments under this proposal. The real debate is only just beginning, though. The UW Board of Regents will make the final call during their meeting this Thursday. Will they approve these increases, or decide to pump the brakes? That's the million-dollar question, pun intended. But here's where it gets controversial. Is a tuition hike genuinely necessary, or are alternative funding solutions being overlooked? Some argue these increases could price out deserving students, while others claim it's a vital move to maintain educational quality. The student success initiatives at UW River Falls might seem justified. Think enhanced academic support, mentorship programs, or career services. But does that make the higher burden fair for families already stretching budgets thin? UW Green Bay's decision to skip that extra 1% prompts another important question. Are their financial priorities shifting, or have they found smarter cost-saving strategies? We want to hear from you. Should tuition increases always be a last resort solution? How do you balance educational quality with affordability? Fire up those comments. This conversation needs your voice. 4. UW tuition hike. Students get screwed again. Imagine being a student at the University of Wisconsin, excited to start a new academic year, only to find out that tuition fees are increasing for the third consecutive year. This shocking reality is about to become a harsh truth for many students in the UW system, as the Board of Regents has approved a tuition hike that will generate an estimated $49 million in additional revenue. But here's where it gets controversial. The increase comes despite a recent boost in state funding, leaving many to wonder why the extra funds aren't enough to cover the rising costs. The answer lies in the complexities of university financing, where inflation, employee wages, and competitiveness play a significant role. As Regent Ashok Rai pointed out, we're thankful for that investment. But it does not diminish our gratitude to note that there remains a gap in our ability to address the cumulative impacts of inflation. This statement highlights the delicate balance between state funding, tuition fees, and the university's financial obligations. For the upcoming 2025-26 school year, most resident undergraduates can expect a 5% tuition increase, which translates to an additional $500 for students at UW-Madison, bringing the total tuition rate to $10,506. But what's driving this increase, and why can't the university simply absorb the costs? The truth is that the UW system is still reeling from a decade of frozen tuition rates, which has left a significant gap in funding. As Julie Gordon, Interim Vice President of Finance and Administration, explained, some people might say, well, that's in the past, let's move beyond it, let's look forward. But it does really impact where we are today, and the financial situation our campuses are in today. The university system is facing significant financial pressures, including inflation, enrollment losses, and stagnant state support, which have created a perfect storm of financial challenges. And this is the part most people miss. The tuition increase is not just about generating revenue, it's also about providing competitive salaries for employees. As Gordon noted, the university system is 18% to 42% behind the national median salary, depending on the campus and field of study. This means that the university is struggling to attract and retain top talent, which can have long-term consequences for the quality of education. So, why raise tuition after the state budget just provided an increase? The answer lies in the fact that the state funding increase, although welcome, is not enough to cover the rising costs. The university system needs to generate additional revenue to provide wage increases for employees, which is essential for remaining competitive. As Regent Timothy Nixon asked, we need to raise the pay for faculty, in particular, and staff, to stay competitive, because people can poach our people, and we were below market. That's correct? This question gets to the heart of the issue. The university system is facing a retention crisis, and the only way to address it is by providing competitive salaries. But here's the thing, the tuition increase is not a silver bullet. It's a complex issue that requires a nuanced approach, taking into account the needs of students, employees, and the university system as a whole. So we ask you, do you think the tuition increase is justified, or do you think there are other ways the university system could address its financial challenges? Share your thoughts in the comments below. As we delve into the complexities of university financing, it's essential to consider the human impact of these decisions. For students, the tuition increase means an additional financial burden, which can be daunting. For employees, it means a long overdue wage increase, which can help retain top talent. As we move forward, it's crucial to find a balance between these competing interests, and to prioritize the needs of all stakeholders involved. The University of Wisconsin system is not alone in facing these challenges, and it's time for a broader conversation about the future of higher education financing. So, let's get the conversation started. What do you think is the best way to address the financial challenges facing the UW system, and how can we ensure that higher education remains accessible and affordable for all? 5. UW tuition increase debate. Is it necessary? Is the proposed increase in tuition at the University of Wisconsin truly necessary? This question is at the forefront of a heated debate, especially as a Republican lawmaker raises concerns about the staffing levels within the university system. WLUK, parents may soon find themselves facing higher costs when sending their children to a University of Wisconsin institution. The Board of Regents is scheduled to vote on a 5% tuition hike this Thursday, which would affect most of the universities in the system. While some argue that this increase is essential for maintaining competitiveness in light of dwindling state financial support, others are skeptical about the necessity of such a rise. After a prolonged freeze on tuition rates, This proposed increase marks the third consecutive year that students may see their costs rise. I'm not thrilled about it, but I still believe that the University of Wisconsin offers a great value, remarked State Senator Jamie Wall, a Democrat from Green Bay. The tuition remains lower than that of neighboring states, which holds true for both the flagship campus in Madison and the entire system. Over the last decade, tuition has increased by 7.7%, a stark contrast to the 21.7% to 28.8% hikes seen in surrounding states, according to data from the University of Wisconsin. Should the board approve this request, Wisconsin residents attending UW-Madison will see their tuition rise by $500, bringing the total to $10,506. When factoring in housing, fees, and supplies, the overall increase amounts to approximately 3.8%. The proposed tuition and segregated fees for resident undergraduates at each university for the 2025-26 academic year are as follows. UW Eau Claire, $10,067. UW Green Bay, $8,985. UW La Crosse, $10,360. UW Madison, $12,166. UW Milwaukee, $10,916. UW Oshkosh, $8,993. UW Parkside, $8,658. UW Platteville, $8,812. UW River Falls, $9,249. UW Stevens Point, $9,477. UW Stout, $9,859. UW Superior, $9,272. UW Whitewater, $8,819. State Senator Eric Wimberger, a Republican from Oconto, argues that if the universities were to adjust their staff-to-student ratios appropriately, they could save hundreds of millions of dollars. They are simply not taking the necessary steps, he stated. Wimberger estimates that reverting to the student-to-staff ratios of 2014 could yield savings of around $700 million annually. A recent audit revealed that the number of academic staff within the system has surged by 33.4% since 2014, with salary expenses soaring by 97.4%. Meanwhile, the number of limited appointees has increased by 39%, while the number of university staff employees has decreased by 33%. During this same period, enrollment has dropped by approximately 16,000 students. This means there are many secondary staff members servicing a dwindling number of students, Wimberger commented. This situation is simply not appropriate. Excluding UW-Madison, the total number of academic employees has actually declined over the past decade. Mark Pitch, the Director of Media Relations for the University of Wisconsin, provided Fox 11 with the following statement regarding the recent audit. Since 2018, not counting UW-Madison, we have seen a reduction of about 1,000 positions across the University of Wisconsin system. Overall, state-funded positions have decreased by approximately 1,220 since 1993. Non-faculty roles encompass a variety of services provided to students and the state, including research and student support. For instance, research has significantly increased at UW-Madison during this time, which is beneficial for both Wisconsin and the nation. Additionally, our graduation rates have improved, and the time taken to earn a degree has decreased. We are effectively facilitating student success with fewer state-funded personnel. Wall added, if there is an influx of research funding at UW-Madison, it necessitates hiring more staff to manage it. This is not inherently a bad thing. The recently approved state budget has allocated a $256 million increase for the University of Wisconsin system, marking the largest funding boost in over 20 years. However, this amount represents only about 30% of what the university system had requested. But here's where it gets controversial. Are these tuition hikes truly justified, Or is there a deeper issue at play regarding university staffing and funding? What do you think? Should universities be held accountable for their staffing levels before raising tuition? Share your thoughts in the comments.